we are doing a tier list on the Hoi 4 DLCs. Price isn't really going to come into it. It's mainly just going to be about the DLC features, what they add to the game, if they're fun to play. And yeah, if I would recommend you buying them or not. So yeah, if you are new to Hoi, you're looking at what DLCs to pick up and you're not 100% sure, basically go from S tier down. Awesome. Tier list up and ready to go. I made this myself all by my lonesome because I'm that talented. Let's start with the expansion subscription. Basically, this subscription just gives you access to all of the DLCs for $7.50 a month. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Like, before you guys come out here and be like, oh, like, I don't want to have to pay a recurring fee for like the DLCs or whatever, shut up. It's actually cheaper for some people that having to buy all of the DLCs. And you know what? Hang on, let me work it out. So it's $7.50 for the DLC a month, Australian. I'm talking Australian dollars. I am Australian. If I get out my fucking TI-30XB high school calculator, which, oh my God, it still works. I found this in my wardrobe the other day when I was cleaning shit out. Oh my God, I can even look at the history of it. This is like all the past maths that I was doing. This is like what high school Hammo would have been calculating back in the day. Like, I don't know, 8 years, a while ago. I'm not good at maths, evidently, hence I needed one of these things. Yeah, if I do some quick mathematics, the subscription is $7.50 a month. The total DLC cost is $260.15, whatever. To break even, where I guess like the amount of months it takes of you having the subscription would cost the same as if you bought all the DLCs outright, it's 34.5 months. If you are a new player, it is so worth getting the subscription thing. That's almost 3 years worth of Hearts of Iron 4. And even if you just leave it on while you're not playing it, I can guarantee you most people probably haven't had this game for more than 3 years. I certainly haven't. And I've bought all the DLCs like a chump. It is like really value for money and it gives you access to everything. So in terms of the features, you're getting them all. Therefore, the subscription is in S tier. Everyone else who says otherwise, in the comments, in the chat, let me know if you disagree, but I'm not taking any heat from this. S tier. You know what? Let's go for one which I was a little bit underwhelmed by this DLC when it came out. The Battle of the Bosporus. Battle for the Bosporus. The focus trees are like kind of cool, but there's like not really any new gameplay features or mechanics in this one. I'm pretty sure it was just for like Turkey, Greece, and Bulgaria, I think. But yeah, it doesn't really add anything new or different. Like it didn't shake up the game, you know? So for that reason, C tier. Let's go for, the most recent one. By Blood Alone. I personally did not realize how much heat this DLC was getting until I went to go and get the screenshots and I was checking it on the Steam store. This DLC has the worst reviews out of any of the DLCs that Hoi 4's dropped. And I think even it's probably got the worst reviews out of any game that I've seen, really. I actually really rate By Blood Alone. Like in terms of the plane designer, that is a sick feature. It's very fun. Focus trees for like Italy and Ethiopia and Switzerland, they're awesome. I think Paradox nailed it. The plane design is quite a like cool and unique thing. I mean, it's similar to the other designers, but like it's still really cool. Let me pull some of these up for you guys. Only 36% are positive. Don't understand how this is $20. Easily one of the worst DLCs I've ever played. Peace conferences destroyed. Like, good luck doing anything without the player-led peace conferences mod. Aircraft designer, it's a gimmick I would rather have disabled. It's like the tank or the ship designer, but none of the fun. That's the trees terribly bloated. Somehow made the bad peace deal mechanic worse. By far the worst Hoi 4 DLC. It's a downgrade in almost every way. I play with By Blood Alone disabled. Yeah, people are really unhappy with this one. Which I think a lot of it is like unwarranted, honestly. To be fair, a lot of the peace deal stuff was broken when it launched. That happens with every game release. Now that I understand the peace conferences a lot more, I would say an improvement in some areas, but there's a couple of things that like Paradox really need to add in. Like you should be able to create a puppet in the peace deal and award land to that created puppet. Like when you beat the UK, creating like a massive African like major nation out of all of the British territories, super fun. If Paradox is listening, which I doubt, that would be a sick feature. But overall, I think solid B tier because it adds some good things, not perfect, still some good stuff. Speaking of the designers, man the guns. I didn't start playing Hearts of Iron 4 until this had already been released. In terms of what it adds, the naval system in general, like the naval designer, super fun mechanic, like being able to customize compared to the old system where like you basically just had the exact same ships across the board. That's not how shit worked in real life. That's not how it worked historically. So being able to customize it is really sick. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say on this one. I think it's A tier. I think the designer for it is really cool. And also the first like implementation of the designer system in the game too. So yeah, big fan of that. Paradox did great. Speaking of low resistance, let's go for that one next. So yeah, firstly, the spy system, massive dub. Massive W. The spy system is one of the coolest features in the game. Being able to like create coups in countries or being able to like steal their blueprints. Like it can give you such a boost to collaboration governments. Like some say broken, maybe, but like it's still a fun mechanic. Obviously like the France focus tree as well. The like expansion of that one, the Napoleon arc. So fun. Like bringing back Napoleon and doing that whole thing. You know, I'm going to say low resistance is S tier. Because I think I just enjoy the spy system so much. And also, Rab, speaking of maths, I'm not sure if you're watching before, the old TI-30, mate. They still selling these things? Like, could I get money for this if I tried selling it to a high school student? You'd get about $350. $350 for this beast. Mate, there's nothing that this can't calculate. I can't graph a quadratic. What nerd needs to graph a quadratic? No one needs that shit. I've been out of school for I don't know how many years because I can't count, but I've never needed a graph of quadratic. They'll still be selling them in 30,000 years. These and like the old Nokia brick phones. That's what'll be like. That'll be the currency when our world descends into a nuclear apocalypse. Anyway, back to this. Let's go for the armor packs. These are just aesthetic things, which you can get if you are a nerd like me and you like seeing the cool little tanks go brr on the map. That doesn't add anything to the game. It's just very cool. I'm going to put them in C tier because they don't add anything, but they also don't take anything away. Like you can get past playing the game, no worries without them, and it will not detract from your experience. But you can get them and it will add to the experience. You know what? I'm also going to put the music packs in the C tier along with the radio pack. I have all that turned off. I listen to my own music when I play Hoi, so I don't even hear that shit. Also, yeah, the Allied speeches, the Eastern Front planes packs, Allied speeches is definitely F tier. You know what? I think I would actually agree. Like, you're not going to sit there while you're playing a game and listen to a speech. If you want to listen to Winston Churchill's like you can just go online and look at it on YouTube. Not worth it. Okay, let's get back to a real DLC. Together for Victory. This is the DLC which adds all of the focus trees for the colonies. It also adds in like the autonomy system, so your ability to like have puppets and shit like that. Honestly, the puppet system, one of the coolest things you can in the game. I think it's so sick. Any game that you're able to have your little minions, really cool. All the DLCs for the like colonies, by today's standards, they're a little bit limiting. I mean, I still have a lot of fun playing as Australia or the Raj or whoever. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in A tier just because like the colonies focus trees could use a bit of a revamp. A tier for me. Waking the Tiger. This is another one which adds a lot of cool focus trees, and it also adds in stuff like the general traits as well and like field marshal orders and shit like that. That's all really cool. Expanding on that theater, which like I'm just going to come out and say it. I bet you don't know enough about the Chinese theater of war in World War II. It was like something I didn't really know a lot about until I started listening to this podcast. Waking the Tiger adds a lot of like stuff for that period and that theater, which is really sick, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So I'm going to give Waking the Tiger, it's just really cool content. So I'm going to give that A tier. Death or Dishonor. This one is also a little bit underwhelming. Like, I mean, again, this is one of the older DLCs, so by that time standards, it was quite cool, but like, there's a lot more stuff that could have been in this DLC to make it more interesting and exciting. It's not inherently bad, but a lot of like the Central European country focus trees, I mean, yeah, it's cool, but it's a little bit boring. It doesn't add anything new or exciting, so that's just, you know, I'm just going to give it a B tier. Oh, also, one thing I wanted to mention, with Waking the Tiger, that adds the alternate path for Germany. So not only is it in Asia, but it also adds the like democratic and imperial path for Germany. That alone is worth getting it. The Sabaton Soundtracks, they're S tier. They're awesome songs. I said I wasn't going to comment on like the monetary thing. And purely because of that, it remains an S tier. If I was like bringing into consideration the fact that you have to pay for these, that'd probably drop it down a tier, but the songs are sick. You can always just go to their Spotify and listen to the songs there anyway. I'm pretty sure most of the songs are on their Spotify. A few of them definitely are. So yeah, Sabaton, S tier, sick band. Go check them out. They're awesome. The anniversary pack, S tier. It's free content. It's free and it adds like a bunch of portraits. And honestly, that's actually pretty much it. But why would you not get it? It adds like all the generic portraits and things like that, extra generals and things. That's my controversial opinion for today. It's free. Why not? I said that the price wouldn't come into it. Doesn't technically have a price. So S tier. And last but not least, No Step Back. This was probably, I think, like the most renowned DLC or the most anticipated DLC when it came out for this game. And I think it's safe to say No Step Back is a solid S tier. Like, I'm going to put that high S tier. The tank designer is awesome. Like, being able to customize shit like that, it's so cool. The supply system and logistics, it actually changed the game in how you need to like get supply to your troops. You need to plan out your offensives a lot more carefully. Sure, sometimes in certain terrains, the game can break down into a little bit of a supply and logistics simulator. But it's actually not as bad as you think. Early in the game, when you look at it, it takes 6 months to build a supply hub. Later in the game, after a few years, you got a few construction techs under your sleeve. Like if you get a 50% construction boost by, 1940, it's not unreasonable for some countries to get that. It goes from taking 6 months to build a supply hub to only 3 months, which is like actually not as bad as it seems. I really enjoy that layer to the game. My friends that I play multiplayer against love that element because they can logistics bomb the shit out of me and destroy all my fucking trucks and trains and make me cry. The Russian focus tree is probably the best one. I'm going to say it. The Russian focus tree is probably the most interesting one in the game. Like there are so many different options and the civil wars and the way everything works in there, you can get some really strong builds. So yeah, I'm going to say it as well. Yeah, that's my other hot take. The No Step Back DLC is high S tier. Also, it has the officer core in it as well, like the spirits of the academy and stuff like that. That is another cool feature it's added in. Like these are all unique things that aren't included in some of these other DLCs. You reckon By Blood alone is better than No Step Back? I disagree. Okay, hang on. We're gonna review a little bit now. We've gone through them all. So allied speeches in F tier. I feel like F tier is a bit empty. I am gonna put the radio pack in F tier. Let me elaborate a little bit on No Step Back, Man the Guns, and By Blood alone. The reason these are placed a bit higher is because they add unique, interesting features to the game. The focus trees in By Blood alone are really fucking cool. The plane designer is really cool. However, peace conferences, there are some improvements that could be made. The main problem I have with By Blood alone is the naming of templates and like the icons and shit reverts them to biplanes or like the weird generic templates. It's a minor thing, I know, but it's annoying. And when you're looking at the intel, you can't tell what your fucking enemy's planes are. It doesn't happen with the tanks or the ships. Well, okay, it actually does happen with the ships. It happens with the ships quite a lot. You don't have the number of tanks and ships as you do planes. Locking the wings to the size of 100 is really annoying. I think they should have done it in multiples of 100. Maybe if they just went 100, 200, and 400, that'd be good because it is so annoying having to have 20 wings of aircraft in a airport. The wings don't merge equipment properly. If you've got like interwar fighters and you make a new design of like improved fighters, it won't mesh them together. So you'll end up having an air wing of like 6 planes and then it will just sit there. So there are problems like that. And that is why By Blood alone drops down a little bit for me. When Man the Guns was released, it had a brand new feature being the naval designer. And that was like the basis which went on to make the tank designer, which is awesome, and the aircraft designer, which is also awesome. Just by being the pioneer of that and the first thing. And also, I'm a sucker for the Navy. I really enjoy the naval side of it. Obviously not perfect, hence why it's not an S tier, but bit of a pioneer for its time. No Step Back, perfect. I mean, I'm not really... Obviously the balancing is a little off. That doesn't really come into it. The balancing for these new features and things is always off. Any game when new content drops, it's usually unbalanced, and it takes a little bit of time to fix that. Paradox is really good about helping balance the game again. So that's why that deserves S tier, and this is A tier, and that's why By Blood alone is in B tier. La Resistance, that belongs there. The anniversary pack, you know what? I'm gonna 180 flip on this. It's just default portraits. It actually doesn't add anything. That actually belongs in F tier. That being said, I do enjoy the cosmetics, and for that reason, I'm keeping the armor packs and the plane packs in C tier. You know what? Battle for the Bosporus is going in F tier. Just because I think you could easily not buy that, and your experience will be the same. I'm actually going to drop Death or Dishonor down a peg as well. Simply do not give a fuck about the Central European countries. That can go down in C tier. Just to be consistent, Waking the Tiger doesn't really add that many brand new features, so I'm going to shuffle that down to B tier. By Blood alone adds way more cool shit, but it has problems. So that belongs in B tier. Together for Victory has the puppets and everything. That's sick. Man the Guns, Pioneer, Sabaton, banger of a band. La Resistance, no step back. The expansion subscription, high S tier. That is my hot take. Thank you everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know why I'm wrong. Appreciate you guys all watching. Come check me out on Twitch. That's where I am right now. Like and subscribe, and you'll be better at Hearts of Iron. Everyone comment as well in the chat, and you'll win all of your games. Thank you. And that is it.